So let's start with what is RPA. Anyone would like to share their thoughts, what they think RPA is, what comes to their mind when they when they hear this term RPA. Anyone, please. No one? Okay, I'll start then. So RPA in a nutshell, if I may say, it simply means the software bots mimicking how a human performs something. As you can see in the definition, simply says mimicking human behavior to execute a sequence of steps. Okay. Now, a process can be anything. Okay. It can be, HR performing some steps for some new joiners, or, a clerk entering some information from some data source into the company's, software, which might be a desktop application, which might be a, web app. So, when you use any RPA tool, for example, Power Automate, to automate that task, it simply means that whatever you were doing as a human, whatever steps you were performing, clicking, drag and dropping, entering the information, anything, a software bot would be doing the same thing in the same way, but of course, in a maybe a faster manner, because human might get tired. Okay, they might make mistakes, but that's not the case with software bots, or in simple words, RPA. So in a nutshell, whatever a human will do, okay, in the same way, a RPA bot, or what you call automation, will do the exact same thing. This is what RP in a nutshell is. Any questions here, guys? Anyone? Okay, moving to the next slide. So let's take an example, guys, okay? Because that will, make it more clear in your mind what exactly, RPA is, and how the companies are nowadays, benefiting and investing more and more into, automating their processes. So see, there are two examples listed on the screen. So the first one deals with the, normal manual process. For example, let's say, imagine that, you are working in an organization, and a new person, joins your team. Okay. A new employee has joined your team, right? So, it's quite natural that, whenever new person joins a team, he or she would be requiring accesses, to different application portals. A number of things are required for any new employee. Okay. They might be requiring access to company portal, some desktop app, which, in which they will be performing their project work and all. So whenever a new person joins, ideally, the supervisor, or who the person is reporting into, they will be raising the accesses for that new employee, or maybe you might yourself be raising the accesses for your teammate who is new to the organization. So let's say the request is raised, okay, in the company portal. For example, let's say someone is working in, let's say Wipro. Someone is working in Wipro. The manager will log into the Wipro portal, and he will raise a request. Then that request will reach to the queue of someone who is in the IT back team. Then they will see the request, and they will check. Okay, the new user is there. What all requests are required? Sorry, accesses are required, and they will manually do each and everything, right? So this example is, how it would be executed manually. How humans would be doing it. Now, coming to RPA, let's say the process has been automated, okay, with a tool, let's say Power Automate. So when you define the create the process, test it and deploy it to production environment, the same thing would be taken care. I mean, all the number of steps would be required, which are required, would be taken care by the software bot. Okay, the bot, in simple words, we can say bot. So the bot will log into the portal, see what all requests are raised, if the person has access or not, and whatever is required, the bot will do it. And then at the end, bot is going to send the automation mail or some notification to the manager that okay, this all has been completed. So this is very small example of what RPA is. Let's take another example. Okay, let's say there is a process in your project, and in that you have to let's say daily open an Excel file, and you have to take the data, log into your company portal, and enter that information, and okay, and enter the information, download some other file, then make the modification in that file, and then send it to your maybe tech lead or someone, okay, or your manager. That person can be anyone. So if we automate that task, which for which you will be seeing the demo also in next few minutes, if you automate that task using an RPA tool, let's say Power Automate, the same thing will happen but without your intervention, and it will happen in the exact same way. You will see the process, the browser is opened, the information has been entered, it will log in first, then click whatever the option is required to be clicked and everything, and at the end it will show you that okay, the process is completed. Okay, so this is how a robotic process automation automates the process which are being done manually with with human intervention. Am I clear? Any question, any concerns here? Don't worry, you'll be seeing the demo next in few minutes. But before that, any questions, any concern, any doubt anyone wants to ask here? Hello, am I audible?
No questions.
Yeah, no question.
Awesome. Now let's go to the next page. Now, there are many industries and many application areas where RPA can be joined, can be implemented, or is being implemented. Okay, there's several categories mentioned on the screen. Let's take one example. Let's say HR operations. So, as you know that whenever a new person joins an organization, a number of things have to be done for that employee, right? Their IDs have to be created. Okay, they have to be added to the organization's directory and everything. I mean, from the HR's perspective, I'm talking about. So HRs, are doing all these things manually till that is automated. So once you automate that, all an employee would have to do is, let's say, they have to just log into a portal, and whatever steps the HR were doing manually, they all will be taken care by the bot. A bot will be doing the exact same thing, whatever is developed inside it, the logic, I mean, and it will be then sending notification to the HR or whatever the requirement is after the process is completed. And the example can be, let's say, you want to get a new policy. So in traditional methods, you had to call an agent, or you have to, or you may have to sign up on the website, and then follow with the agent and all to get policy, fill the premium and all that, right? But in case if RPA bot is taking care of all that stuff after the process has been automated in the organization, the bot will be taking care of all these things. Once you fill out the form, it will be going to all the steps required, which were done earlier by the human, and at the end you will have the process completed through the bot. And any question, any concern here, any query here, guys?
No.
No.
Great. Moving ahead. Now, I mean, I think nowadays everyone's aware, the benefits of automation, or if you talk about benefits of robotic process automation, RPA. So there are so many tasks in an organization which were done manually earlier, and nowadays the companies have invested in RPA tools and have automated their processes, right? Okay. Now that has given advantage to companies in a number of ways. Their tasks are getting quickly completed. They are mostly error free. I mean, a human can make errors, right? If you are doing the same thing again and again, right? They are prone to making errors. It's a normal human nature, right? Now, another big thing is that as a human, an employee would be taking leaves or might not be available, like 24/7, right? If you want a 24/7 shift, then you might have to employ different people. But if you have automated the process, the bots are available whenever you want them to run, right? They are not take leave. They are not going to get tired, right? So they are always available at your disposal to be to be used for automating different processes inside an organization. Now, uh, a very big advantage of RPA is that a human need not to intervene when the process is running, right? So once you have deployed the process, it will just run on its own, right? The human capacity is free for some other meaningful tasks instead of doing the same repetitive task for which they were just wasting their time in the manual repetitive work. A software bot will be doing like that in place of human. Okay, and that will reduce the cost, increase the efficiency, and reduce the errors inside the process execution for the organization. That's why you are seeing that nowadays more and more companies are investing in automation. And that is the reason there were so many what do you call layoffs in the organization, because their processes were automated, right? And earlier, if it used to take 10 people to work on the same thing, and if it is automated, now you just require one or two people for just managing that process or making changes whenever those changes are required, right? So it's a huge advantage for the organizations. That's why more and more organizations are investing a lot in the technology called which is RPA. And any queries here, guys? Anyone?
No, no queries.
I think the people who are already working, as some people mentioned that they're already working UiPath, they might be well versed with all these benefits. But
My companies are moving to the Power Automate tool as compared to the
okay,
UI part.
okay. Sorry, was it Siley?
Yes,
Yes, Siley. So you're saying that your company is moving from UiPath to Power Automate, right?
yes, right.
Yeah. So yeah, Power Automate is gaining market at a very rapid speed, Siley. And within just 2 years, in last 2 years, it has gained a lot of customers, and it's now every quarter they're coming in the leaders category. I mean, I'll tell you some background of Power Automate. So in 2016, it used to be called Microsoft Flow. Okay, and mostly it was a web-based automation component for from Microsoft. But after that, they acquired one company called Softomotive, and they then full-fledged launched full Power Automate suite, which contains one component which is the cloud version, and another one is for the desktop automation. We'll see both of them shortly. So it's like full-fledged, powerful suite to automate whatever you want. If you want to automate web apps, you want to connect to some cloud service. Do you have connectors? So many connectors for that. I'll show you that in demo. Don't worry. And so and there are number of actions ready-made inside the tool itself. So Microsoft is, making the tool more and more powerful, and you all know it's Microsoft. Wherever it goes, it becomes the leader in, in some time, right? We all know Microsoft how Microsoft works. So the future of Power Automate is really very bright, and I've heard many people from my friends that their organization is moving from other tools to Power Automate, and so the opportunities are huge in Power Automate and RPA, guys. Now moving on to the next slide in case no query from for this one. Now, I'm sure some of you, you are maybe working in some, other technology or some legacy skill, or yet to start their career in corporate, or about to join an organization. They might have some queries in their mind, right? For example, let's say some people think that that they were not trained in programming language and all. So can they learn RPA? Absolutely. I mean, if someone wants to learn RPA, then it doesn't matter what their background is. If they learned programming, if they did not learn programming, it doesn't matter. All what's required is their zeal and interest to learn the tool and technology. That's all is required. If they are not having from if they're not from the programming background, that is not going to be an obstacle for them at all. Absolutely. There have been many people in the past batches where they were from diverse backgrounds. For example, someone was from back office operations, someone was from finance background, but they all learned that tool, spent some time in hands-on completing the assignments, prepared for certification, and then very successfully changed their career path. And there were many people in the previous batches who were like just straight out of college, and they were searching in which technology they should start their career with and all. So many people are examples from the previous batches that they have successfully changed their career path. So it's absolutely no obstacle for someone, if someone is not coming from programming background, technical background, doesn't matter. Now, I think one or two people in the intro, they told that they are, about to start their career. They're straight out of college, and RPA is very much in demand, guys. If you just search, top 10 skills which are, going to have huge demand in the future, RPA would be definitely in the top five. I mean, you can search it yourself, and you'll find RPA in the top five. Anyone has any other query or concern in their mind, please feel absolutely free to ask your queries or questions.
Hi. As I told you, I am a manual tester, and my next
Mhm.
project is in
Yeah,
Power Automate. So
yeah.
my next project is in Power Automate
Mhm.
desktop only. So I want to
Mhm.
focus on Power Automate desktop. So are we covering like
Mhm.
both cloud and desktop in this course?
The offering, I know it is in two parts. One is cloud component and one is
Mm-hmm.
the desktop component, should be, as you said. The
Yeah.
focus would be on the desktop one because that is slightly more powerful and having
Okay.
more functionality than the cloud one.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the focus would be on the desktop one, but at the same
Okay.
time, the cloud would be also covered.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but what is the main difference in between the cloud and the desktop?
Okay. So I'll tell you, the main difference is, let's say, if some interaction is supposed to happen, let's say there's a desktop app, okay, and you have to click, drag, drop, enter something, then in that case, the desktop one is the one which will be used. But in case you want to, work on an automation for which you are getting, an online API connector, and Microsoft have provided connector for you, or in other ways, some cloud API you are trying to, automate or trying to interact with. In that case, you will be working on Power Automate Cloud. And I'll show that example to you. Don't worry. Was it Anshwini?
No, no.
Sorry. Okay, sorry, my mistake. So yeah, I'll show you, on what are the kinds of use cases for which Power Automate is perfect, and what are the use cases for which the cloud component is perfect. Okay. Any other query questions here, guys? Please don't feel shy. No question is, unimportant. Please feel free if you have any other query or whatever you have in mind related to this. Okay, then I'll take silence as a no, that no one has any query. No worries. You can still ask in between, don't worry. Let's move to the next part. Now, it's not that, there's just one RP tool in the market. There are many, but Power Automate has now become the leader and is now, getting customers at a very rapid pace, lately. So there is something known as Gartner report. I'm sure you all must have heard about it. If not, you can just, just check the site for the Gartner. So in the last couple of quarters, Microsoft Power Automate has appeared, has emerged as the leader in the RPA space. Okay. And compared to some other tools, for example, let's say Blue Prism is also, one of the widely known tool. Compared to that, Power Automate offers a much more intuitive user interface. Okay. It's very much user friendly, and it's easier to code in this, requires slightly lesser time if you compare to some other tools. I'll show you, how you actually create a flow. Don't worry, the demo part is coming in few minutes. Now, a very important distinction between Power Automate and other tools is that it provides so many connectors. I'll show you what connectors is when we come to the demo part, which will make your automation getting created in very, very, very less time. Okay. For example, let's say you have something stored in a OneDrive, okay, or Google Drive, or wherever you want. There's n number of connectors, exceeding 500 plus. So you want something to be done, to some data to be taken from your OneDrive, Excel, then fill it somewhere else, and then connect to some other online service. So for that, inbuilt connectors are available, and you just have to select the one which fulfills the requirement. One of the most important distinction between Power Automate, and other tools, because you see, so many companies have already invested in Microsoft products, right? And for all those things, Microsoft is having inbuilt integration available. So that makes it very, very powerful, if you compare it with other tools. Now, one more advantage of Power Automate is that, let's say you want to, create a flow. I'm talking about the cloud part. Now you have so many templates available that all you have to do is just, select what template you want, search it, and then fill your details. I mean, whatever, want to accomplish, and then just test it and save it. Your automation would be ready in no time. Okay, as I said, there are about 400 pre-built actions available, and these actions, trust me, are very, very helpful. And in making you and helping you achieve what you are intending to automate, or whatever workflow you are trying to automate. We'll see that shortly. Any queries here, anyone? All good, guys? Any query?
No.
No worries. Now comes the most interesting part, which is the demo. And once you see the demo, then it will make you more clear. I mean, the people who are new to RPA, it will make it more clear how it actually is automated in the flow, how the tool looks like, and basically how you develop the flow. So I have a couple of examples I would like to show you. Let's say there is an app. Okay, I have a small demo app here. Now let's say assume there is a store manager. Okay, there's a store manager, and the manager's task is to open this app. Okay, its task is to open this app and add new orders for the inventory for his let's say showroom or shop. Okay, so you see the options here on the screen. First is for add new order, second is for view existing order, three is to quit. So I'll enter one, click on go. Now you see a new screen appeared, and it's asking you a couple of values. For example, product code, let's say some random value. Okay, a number required, for example 25, and let's say the per item price is, let's say 38 rupees. Okay, and a cost center. So these are dummy values I'm entering, don't worry. Okay, now it will give you total price and click on submit order. Okay, and here you have the order confirmation, click on continue, and you come back to the same screen. So just imagine that, as a store clerk or store manager, at the end of the day, he has to, book some orders for his shop, and this is the app which he's using. Now, let's assume that he's getting all these details in a spreadsheet, which may look like this. So it has around 8 records with all the details required, like product code, the values which you saw me entering on the screen. So product code is there, number required, unit price, cost center. Okay, now assume, now I'll ask you guys, so if a person has to fill all these details as a human user, what step will he take? Anyone? Anyone, guys? As a human, if you're manually doing this, what all steps will you take?
Open the application, copy
Yeah,
data, then enter the data.
yeah, yes,
For submit.
Read the Excel file.
yeah. So you will open the Excel file, open the app, and then enter all of that one by one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But now let's say we have automated this process. Okay. Instead of you as a human user entering all the details one by one, in a time consuming manner, let's say we have automated this process. And now let me show you how the processes are automated, how a sample flow looks like. So can you see my screen, this Power Automate screen, guys?
Yes.
So this is the main home screen of Power Automate. And this is the desktop version I'm showing you. We'll come to the cloud version shortly. Now, whatever you create, what I mean by that is whatever automation you create, in Power Automate terminology, it's called a flow. Okay. So there are a couple of flows already created, in my account. You can see on the screen. So let me open one of them, which will show you how the automation will work if we, automate the task of opening this Excel, opening this application, this application I showed you, and filling it through a bot. Let me open this. Okay. Can everyone see this screen?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, this is how, a typical flow looks like. So this is how any automation you would prepare, Of course, the steps would be different depending on what you're trying to achieve. But this is how a typical Power Automate flow would look like. So you see in the middle side, there are some steps present, and they all would be, executed in a sequential manner from, top to bottom when I run it. And we can, divide the whole process into small steps. Okay. So for this example, I have divided into two parts, like open and login, which will open the application and, enter the credentials. Here it will enter the option, which is option number 1, and then rest of the steps. Now, whatever you create, you would be creating by using these steps, which are called actions. Okay. So you see there are how many number of actions? Around 20, right? So these small steps are called actions. And how do you choose an action? Okay, what you want to achieve? Let's say, okay, anyone has any query at this point?
No.
Anyone? Okay. So as I said, these are called actions. So you can say that your flow or your automation would be a collection of actions to be executed in a sequential manner, right? If we take this example of this small application I showed. So, okay, let's take another example. Let's say if you have to, let's say, cook noodles, right? Cook those noodles which come with, taste maker. For example, Maggie. How would you cook it, right? What all steps would have to be followed? Anyone? Anyone? I'm sure everyone has eaten Maggie at some point or other, right? Would anyone like to say, what all steps would be required in it? No one? Okay,
Put the
no worries.
utensil on the gas, then add test maker, water, and Maggi.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
turn on
yeah,
the. Just wait for 2 minutes. It is ready.
yeah. Yes. So the steps which you suggested, Siley, they have to be executed in the same order, right? I mean, you need to first, put the water in the pan and then put noodles inside it, right? You
Yes.
can't, you can't
Here
like,
also means in
sorry.
UiPath there are such some activities. We have to just
Yeah,
drag and drop to create
yeah,
the flow or to create the automation. Here
yeah,
also means the
yeah.
activities we have to drag and drop to create our flow.
Yes, yes, Siley. So the thing which you're referring to activities in UiPath, it's called actions here. Basically, they are same thing. Okay. Let's say, for example, you have to launch a browser. Okay. There must be similar activity in UiPath. Here we call it launch. So whichever browser you launch, just drag and drop it here, guys, like this. And there are some parameters which have to be entered, like, like you want to launch a new instance, or you want to, attach to already running one, what URL you want to open it with when it opens for the first time. You want the window to be normal, maximized, minimized, all that. So any action will have, its own parameters. And the way to use that action is just search your action. If you don't want to search, just click on the respective category. For example, we are dealing with browser. We will click on browser automation. Okay. And we will select the one which is, fulfilling our criteria. Let's say I want to launch a browser. I will click on it and drag and drop it. And of course, the sequence has to be meaningful. I mean, the way you want to get the action executed, they all have to be placed in the same sequence. Okay. Fill the parameters, click on save. And of course, I did not fill this, so that's why showing an error. Ignore that. So this is how you basically launch a browser. Okay. Now, just a small action. You might want to do some other thing. Maybe you want to, click somewhere. You want to, create a new tab, and there can be some n number of actions. There are like 300 plus actions here, and the numbers are increasing every other week because Microsoft is at improving this tool a lot. With every other week, they are adding new features, new functionalities. But basically, this is how you create a flow. Any question in concern here, guys?
No.
All clear to everyone? Let me just quickly show how you exactly create a flow. So you see here my flows. I click on new flow, and let's say RPA demo. Okay, click on create. Now you see this is a blank canvas you have got. The previous one was having the steps already in it because it was already a developed flow. Now this is how you create a flow from scratch. So now let's say you want to open a browser and search something. Okay, so let's say you want to launch. So let's say launch, bring this action here. Now you want to launch a new browser. Let's say you want to open the google.com website, right? Now we want the Windows state to be like, maximized when it's launched. If you want to enter something into advanced, see, the all are parameters, okay? And it depends, it varies from action to action, what parameters it will take, okay? So it might not be necessary that all the actions will have advanced tab. They might have something else, but yeah, some parameters would definitely be required to fill in them. So I have selected launch new instance, new web browser would be launched with google.com open in it. So I click save. Okay. Now let's click run. See what will happen. So you see a new browser has been launched and it opened the URL already, which we gave in it. Okay. So just a small demo of how you basically create the flows. I'll close this. I'll go back to the one where we are automating that application, which is this one. Till now, any query, any questions, anyone while this is opening?
No.
No one? Okay. I think it will take a couple of seconds to open. And okay, let me close. Looks like some error occurred. Let me close it and open it again. Just give me a second. For the UiPath guys, it's almost similar to what you develop in UiPath, right? I mean, the terminology can be different and the way you do that might be different, but it's more or less the same thing, right?
Yes, same thing.
You might call activities there, you might creating workflow there like that, but you're doing almost the same thing. Now it opened, might have been some error earlier. Anyways, I opened it again. So you see, guys, if you run this flow, what it will do, it's going to first display a message box. Then it will open the application. And remember that spreadsheet I showed you, this one. So it will take all that data and one by one, it will fill all these rows into the application. And at the end, it will show a message that, okay, the process has been completed. Now let me just run this and you'll see yourself how the automation actually works. Now, as a human, I opened the spreadsheet, opened the app and entered everything one by one. But now let's see how a bot will do that. Okay, so I'm clicking run. So message displayed, automation started, fine. Now it has opened the application. It's going to enter the credentials, right? It signed in. It's going to enter the choice number, which is 1. Meanwhile, it has already taken the data from Excel. Now see, the first record would be entered. Now see, as it's exactly entering just the way a human will enter, right? Now
Yes.
it will come to the second record, and it will do this depending on number of rows which were present in the spreadsheet. So you see, the process is same. You're not changing the process, but how it's done is the bot is actually performing the same task which you would have done as a human. So it will come to the next record. I hope this demo, made it more clear to you. I mean, people who are, new to RPA, made it more clear to you how actually it works, right? So in the similar way, you get the requirement, you create the flow, develop the flow, and then, publish it. Now, automation can be on anything. It might be this desktop app. You might be, automating something in a browser. Now see, the automation has completed, and all those values have been entered from the spreadsheet to the application. Any queries, any concern here, guys?
No, sir.
No one? Okay. So this was one example for if you're automating a desktop app. Okay. Now let's say, has everyone heard about something known as Slack? It's kind of similar to Teams, right? Where you share your messages, group discussion, everything. So let's say you want to post something into, Slack channel. Now we will now see an example of Microsoft Automate Cloud Component. So if I go to this tab, this is how the Microsoft, Power Automate Cloud part looks like. So you have flows here as well. And let's say you want to create a new flow. So how many options are there for you? It can be automated cloud flow, means automatically it will run whenever trigger happens. Trigger is something, an event which will which one happens will make the automation to run. Okay. It can be instant cloud flow. You can run it whenever you want, or it can be a scheduled cloud flow. You define a schedule, it will run. I'm going to shortly show you, how exactly a small cloud flow looks like. Another one is for desktop flow, the one which you just saw. It is the example of a desktop flow. Okay. Now, let me go to the one already created one. So what I'm going to show you here is this is a very small flow, which is, made in Microsoft Power Automate Cloud part, which will post a message to a Slack channel. A Slack is simply, one second. It's kind of, similar to what do you say, Teams. Okay. Now, when I run this flow, it's gonna post a message. Before that, let's see what are the constituents of this cloud components. You see, if I click a new step, okay, there are only 2 steps. What all do you need to select? First, you need to select a trigger. Okay. So what a trigger is, a trigger simply means an event. Okay. When that event happens, the Power Automate should run that flow. Now, the trigger can be so many things. Okay. When a new email arrives, when an event is added to calendar. So depending on that, you can select your trigger. And after you've selected a trigger, what should happen? Okay. Now, let's say I want something to be posted into Slack channel. Now there's so many options available here, guys. 500 plus or even 600 connectors are there, and more and more connectors are being added every other day by Microsoft. Okay. So let's say you want to take some rows from Excel. You want to use AI Builder. I'll show you AI Builder in few minutes. You want something to be done in Office 365. So coming to the previous one, this is the action which is going to post a message to a Slack channel. Okay, Slack channel is similar to Teams channel, where people who are in organization, they must be already using maybe Teams or maybe Slack. One of them you must be already using, right? So it will just post a message to Slack channel. So the actions which you are seeing here, okay, the one step actions, these are called actions here. Here also, these are same actions here. So you create a flow and you keep on adding the steps to it. Okay, when you add a step, you add a action to it. Now this can be anything. I'm just showing a small demo to you. Now when I run it, it's gonna post a message here. Okay, let me run this. So I click on test. I click on run flow. Now you see this message just got posted here. Hey, this is an example text posted from Power Automate. Now you can create a flow maybe for posting something into Teams, or maybe you can create a flow for posting into Teams when you receive an email. There are endless automation you can create using all these connectors. So if you click on connectors here, you have so many connectors here. It's up to you which one you want to explore. Now this is one of the most powerful advantage for Power Automate. It has so many integration inbuilt into it. If you want to use it from cloud side, use them in cloud flow, and you have some actions here as well at the bottom. Google Cognitive Services, IBM Cognitive Services, some cloud services you want to use, you have the inbuilt actions here. So one of the most powerful advantage for Power Automate, as it's a Microsoft product, how Microsoft enters a category and becomes a leader into it. So one of the most powerful advantage for uh, Power Automate is this one, connectors. And also there's something known as templates. So as you all know, template is something already created framework. So let's say you want to save your attachment received in outlook.com or any other email to your OneDrive. OneDrive is basically cloud drive provided by Microsoft. So you click on this, it will open a predefined template for you. Okay, you define the connections and it will create a flow. So ready-made flow you will get. Any questions or queries here, guys?
Yes, I have.
Please go ahead.
Can we are going to cover Power Automate Cloud also in this?
Yes, majority of the focus would be on desktop one because that is more powerful. But
Yeah,
there is
but because
something.
I'm working
Yeah.
on Cloud one,
Mhm.
so I need that one
Sure.
in urgent.
Cloud would be also covered, and there is something known as AI Builder, Ashwini, which is available only on the cloud side.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, this would be covered. Cloud would be also covered. Now, guys, one more distinct advantage of Power Automate versus other tool is that Microsoft is providing some, AI capabilities inbuilt in the license or tool with you. Okay, what all things you can do with the AI capability. So let's say you have, see there are so many options available here. Let's say you have invoices. Okay, you can extract the information from the invoices. They can be pictures, they can be PDFs. Or okay, you can extract information from receipts. You can extract information from business cards. Those contact cards which you have, and there's so many things you can do here using AI models. So that would be also covered in the sessions. This is also a very powerful advantage which Power Automate has compared to other tools. And as Microsoft has integrated the functionality inbuilt in the tool. Other tools have to rely on third-party functionality, but Microsoft itself has an Azure cloud, which has so many cloud services. So they have integrated in the tool itself. There's object recognition. There is uh, custom objects you can model. I mean, what all this is we'll discuss later, but there are some things you can do in your AI builder in the tool, and yeah, that would be also part of session. Any queries, questions here, guys?